Okay. So after I finished doing the teaching, I had someone come on and they were asking about what is the what's a false code. Okay. False code, and this is my perception after what I did a research on and found out what those codes are. False code. False code is when you are indoctrinated into an energy, like an energy is put into your template to maybe have a fear of water. Okay, you can have fear of water. False code. The truth is, you don't really fear water, but there's an energy that's imprinted on you somewhere in your being, in your etheric, your astral, your cellular makeup. Is a false code, it's a false imprint to make you be fearful of water. Okay. So now you are fearful of water. You don't know why, but you're fearful of water. Okay. So that false code can come from a past life where someone told you not to be around water or da 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 da. That's a false code. Okay. Hi, Janice. Okay, so that's a false code. Another false code is when someone is hating on someone, but you don't know why you hate them. Okay, you're hating on a person. You're hating on a race of people, or you're hating on a certain type of religion, but you don't know why you're hating on them. You just know that you don't like them. Okay, so why do you not like them? But you're asked, why do you not like them? But you can't give a valid reason why you don't like them. Your own personal reason. Why do you not like that person? Why do you not like that race? That's a false code. Okay. False codes are things that are imprinted through the DNA, that's imprinted in your upbringing to have a fear or a dislike on something or someone or a thing. But yet you have no background reason or a foundation to know why you feel that way. It's just there. It's just like when we look at certain dynamics of behaviors in humanity, where say like a certain race of people dislike themselves in their own race, okay, and they cut each other down in their own race. They don't understand why certain things happen in their own race among their own people, but they're trying to figure it out. How can we get these race of people to step up, or this race of people within the race? So I'm going to use this as an example. Don't get all upset. But I saw this earlier today and I was like, I said, that's a false energy. So there is this woman talking about black men, okay, saying things about that she just gave up on trying to date black men because of this. Okay, I'm not feeding into this energy. This is just a statement that was said. And she, being a black female, she was saying this. I said, okay, right there, there's a false code. In her DNA, somewhere in her energy, there is an energy imprinted that makes her think that, okay, black men are this. Okay, it can be vice versa. It can be black men look at black women and think this, okay, about black women. Okay, that's a false code. Why is that code there? Think about it. Why is that code there? Why would some people have that code there that makes them think like that? Because of their experience? Is it because of their perception? Is it because of why is that there? Why is that energy there? That's a false code because this is the belief that, okay, they had an experience that showed this, but this is the outcome every time. Okay, so let's flip the medicine on this. That's a false code. Your false belief that black men are all like this. Okay, that's a false code. and it's an unfair code. Same if a black man says about a black woman, all black women are like this. Okay. Now we're gonna flip the medicine. What if, because you are carrying the false code, what if you were to just detach that and just say, I need to change an energy that I'm holding inside of me that's making me think that way? Because of the way I'm thinking, I'm emanating that energy out. And that's why I keep attracting, hello, keep attracting that same energy to me. Because that is my false code belief. That's what a false code is. False codes are energy implanted into our space that we don't know that's there, but yet and still it creates a perception or a belief or a behavior response to something that is not true. But you make it true because that's what your belief is. Okay. Same as here's another one. If you think that all people who wear a headband or bandana on their head or a head wrap, that they're tied into voodoo. I'm going to use that one. They're tied into voodoo. So you see someone, melanated skin, black person, whatever, tied into, they have a bandana or something on their head, and you automatically just say, oh, that person does voodoo. Is that true? Or is that your false code belief? That you just think that's what everybody who has that, who wears something like that, that's how they are. Is that true? No, it's not true. But that's a false code belief. Okay? That's what a false code is. It's when you have a belief of something that's not true and you believe it's true because it's energetically in your space to give you that. Okay, that's a false code. And then if we dig deeper and go deeper into the DNA, if there's an instilled fear that has been generational, generation upon generation, that's imprinted into the DNA, and it goes into those cellular memory and it stays there until someone comes along and says, okay, that's not true. That's not a true statement. That's not a true thing. Okay. That's a false code. These are implanted energy codes to get you to be in a certain response a certain way. And a lot of, if we go back thousands and thousands of years of how our DNA, everything's been manipulated, okay, we have to look at that. What was put into our space to get us to be a certain way so we were easier to control? That's a false code. What did they put there so that you're easier to control? You don't have free will. You can't think for yourself. You believe everything that's told to you. You won't go outside the box. You'll stay inside the box. You'll stay where you're supposed to be and you'll be under control. You'll be managed. You will conform. That's a false code because that's someone or something coming in, overriding your ability to see things for what is in their true light of self. Okay, that's a false code. So when we talk about removing false codes, it's on galactic levels, it's on planetarial levels, it's on miasms. Miasms are perfect for that. I deal with that a lot in my work that I do with Spiral Light. Because Spiral Light is so galactic, what we do as far as healing for people, when we deal with miasms, miasm is an energy cellular imprinted energy that's mimicking something, but it's not the real thing of it. Miasm is an energy that's forming to be something, but it's not that yet. But it's going to get there because it's projecting an energy to make it come into fruition so that it can become what is mimicking, what it wants to become. Okay? Because miasms can be planetary, they can be galactic, they can be cellular generational, ancestral connection miasms tied into things that will allow the physical body to take it on and form it into a reality. Okay. So when we talk about miasms, we're talking about a planetary, acquired, inherited, and a stellar. A stellar is where it's from in space. Inherited is when it's a cellular memory of an individual. A acquired is when it's a disease, a toxicity, and then a planetary is when it's a consciousness in the ethers. That's a miasm. And a lot of people who are dealing with things like that, I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribing, blah, 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 I have to say that, um, who are dealing with things that are happening in their body, you got to stop and ask yourself, wait a minute, is this a miasm? Is it a false energetic energy that's being created right now because of things that are happening in my body or in my life that's causing me to be out of balance, that's coming in to create itself in a true reality? Okay, that's a miasm. So when we talk about false codes, getting rid of something, what's your false fear? Because if it's not based in a foundation of something, it's a false energy. Okay? It's a false energy that needs to be removed. That's a false code. And false codes can be things done to us on a genetic factor. All of us know that. That's a false code. To create an energy so that the real one can't see or determine what's going on in the body. It puts out a false read. That's a false code. Big time. Saying it like it is, people. I'm keeping it real. That's a false code. Okay. So this is why this video, when I had someone come in, they said, what is the false code? And I said, honey, I went in the beginning of that we talked, but I wanted to really dig in and give more of a definition of what that false code is. And when we talk about healing, when we talk about going in and clearing things, and we're doing a lot of clearing on things that have happened in the past and present and future timelines of cells. We're clearing all of that stuff because it's there. And if you don't go in and clear it, you're going to find yourself constantly looping in an energy and staying in it. I'm going through that right now with someone that's been looping in a constant energy and just unable to get out of that loop. They're in it, and it's sad because I'm looking at it saying, okay, what's another approach I can try? What's another thing I can do? But they're looping. They're trapped. They're trapped in it. Okay. And this is yesterday we did the talking about breaking up, when you're talking to different energy beings getting out of your space, commanding them to leave. And, once you figure out the name of the being or call it out and they got to tell you their name, you got control of it. You can tell that thing to go. But yeah, they'll play this game. They don't want to give their name up because they know you have the power to make them leave. Okay. So I wanted to just come on here and bring more clarity to what the false codes are, and just remember them like this. If you got a fear of something, why do you have that fear? Who or what put that there? And if you can't find out who put it there or what put it there, then it's a false code. You need to get rid of it. If you can go back through time and go and look through your timeline and find out where that is and get rid of it, then great. Yay. But if you can't and you don't know where to begin, find out why you feel that way. Find out why you're disliking people and a race of people or this or that and your belief and your perspective and this and that. Find out why you have that. And then I bet you anything, if you would just change your frequency so you would stop having that experience, things would change. But as long as you're on a frequency of where you're constantly attracting that energy, you're going to keep having that experience because you yourself have not recognized that you're attracting it. Okay? It's the same thing. Let's take, I don't want to, let's just say, all right, let's look at JLo. Let's look at her. She's up and down all the time. She's having, everyone knows she can't have some kind of relationship. Let's just use it as an example. There's a lot of JLo women out there, or JLo people. Let's just say JLo people. Their energy is constantly putting out there that either they don't think themselves good enough, they don't think they're worthy of love, and they always attract or go back to the same energy that had a negative response in the first place. Why? Because that's what they are used to. That's all they know. You can give them someone and say, this person will love you, this person will honor you, this person will be with you, will do anything for you. But somewhere in that person, they'll say, oh no, I don't deserve that. They'll go back to the energy that's the negative response because it's a false lead into that. That's what their belief is. And until they decide to change it and say, I deserve this or I'm worthy of this, and I don't need to be getting myself into relationships with people that don't value me, and drop it and make sure you stay true to that. Because as soon as you start to smell it coming around, you can say, oh, hell no, bye. I don't want to be attracted. I'm not attracted to that. I'm not consenting to that energy. But as soon as you do that, the universe makes note of it and then it's changed. Now you've imprinted a different vibration on yourself. You turned up your dial. So now all those ones that you've been used to, they go under you instead of coming and matching with you here. They go under. Okay. So now they're not matching you. They're not matching. So now you're up here. So now your vibration is going to bring in who aligns with you. That's the name of the game now. So when we talk about false codes, what is that false coded energy putting out there that's making it true? Okay, this can be found in everything from money to home stuff. If you're constantly bouncing from home to home and you can't get that, what's that false code reading? Do you not think you deserve a home? Do you not think you should have a home? What is that? What's that false code? Okay. This is something I think all of us are going to be looking at because where is it anchored? That's creating an energy. And because it's false, you're making it true by putting your attention on it. That gives it a life force to make it true. Because if it's a false code, that means it's not divine, it's not of its truth, essence. It's just something there to take your belief off into a false direction when it's not true. And believe me, we are inundated every single day with a whole bunch of false codes. It's like being in a matrix and you're standing there like Neo and you're watching the lines, the binary codes go up and over, and you're like, okay, 0001, 0011, 1.1, okay, 0008.222. Oh, that one looks weird. That's not in sync. What is that? That's a false code. We're inundated. We're in it. So take that one step further when you are looking at a false code. Take that and really today, tomorrow, be observant. What's your hang up? That's why I love what I do. I'm the one that calls your shit out and make you look at it. Because if I don't help you look at it and I don't call it out, you're going to keep on running past it until somebody makes you go, stop. It's not hammer time, but take a time and look. I want you to take a look at what you're running from. Or why do you keep looping yourself into a false energy? Now, when we look at all the stuff that's happening with J-Lo, that energy, she's looping. Look at her. She's looping. She's a looper. She loops. That's a perfect example of a looper. She loops. Because there's an energy how she's looping. There was even a thought thing that she said she wanted to make a part two to Geely. Why? The first one, from what everybody was expressing, wasn't that good. Why would you want to try to go back and do that? That's looping. See the false energy? That's a looping. There's many other examples that you can find out there of how people are looping, which is why August, because of that 8, is so important. How are you going to be showing up in your life in that 8 energy? Okay. How are you going to go up and be in that? Oh, darling, you came in. Good. I took your view and I put a viewer's question, and I wanted to come on and honor that question that you had. So, that 8, what are you doing? How are you looping? What's at the top that you do want to bring down here and anchor? What are you creating up here? And you want to bring it down here. What is up here? You want to bring it down there. That's what you want to be in the magic of for next month. Because in the 7, we're just going up like this. Okay, we're up here, this 7. We're in spirit world. See how this top, the 7, okay? You came up. Now you're at the top. You're at the bridge. That's the 7. Okay, you're up here. Now when we go into the 8, it's going to get that curve and it's going to say, okay, what did I create up here? Now I want to drop it down here to me. Okay, I'm up here. I drop it down here. Okay. So that's why this is going to be so important. We get rid of stuff. Move it out. Get the false codes out. So if you're living in that energy where it's false energy, not being real with the self, I ask you, take this time and be willing enough to understand why do you have that? Why are you thinking that way? Where did it come from? Who gave that to you? Okay. That's like if we look at things on a Christian base and we say that word, you were born in sin. Really? How are you born in sin? If two people got together, created a life form of themselves in you, how is it that this baby was born in sin? Now, I'm not talking about the crazy stuff that can happen that would produce a child out of lower form. I'm not talking about incense. I'm not talking about rape, energy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when a child is being planned for and coming in. How is that a love for a child that's being created going to be born in sin? How do we do that? That's a false code. That's a false belief put on you to think that way. Oh, you're born in sin. Really? How do you, what? Look at the words. Look at the vibration of it. We just carelessly, I love the singer Jem, Jem, the word, the song she has called They. We follow them, we follow the rules because they tell us to. Who made up all those rules? Her song is awesome. I love that song. Okay. Babies are not born in that, but it's a belief through that, a false code that's been passed down forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Everybody hears it, it goes in here, and you now you make it so you believe it, so you speak it. It's false code. We're all divine beings. So why would we put a word like that on an innocent of a child and say it's born in sin? They just took breath. They just came through the womb of life. How can we condone that and say that? That makes no sense. None at all. See that? That's the energy. It's the same as when someone says, oh, you better fear God. You better fear God. You better, I need a fearing woman that fears God. Why? Why are you why are you supposed to be fearing God? If God is love, unconditionally, passionate, gives you inspiration, God lives through you. You are a representation of that. Creator. Why would you fear something that you are in the image of? That would be like when we look at the Father, Mother, God, it's almost like the same thing saying, oh, I fear my parents. But your parents are good to you, but you fear them. Same concept. Why would you fear something that you are a vessel of? The divine love source, creator. Why would you fear that? That's a false code. Now, do you understand what false code is? That's what false codes are. It's something to get you to be in that space to not ever see the truth of it, to never have a true connection to it. That's a false code. Okay. Thank you for clearing. You are so welcome. That's a false code. And just to close it out, we are living in a lot of false codes right now. And every day, we're constantly trying to make sure where we want to put our energy, how do we want to interact, and not showing up as a tribe of people of fear. We're breaking all that. We're coming out of that. So I invite each and every one of you that was a part of the video before this, and now I went in and explained it more, how I see it and interpret it, false codes, and how you can look at it in your own surroundings, your own things. You can look at it through the celebrities. They're full of false codes. They like to loop with each other. They loop around. They're never happy. Look at them. Look how they project themselves. Look at their scenarios. And here's the thing, remember this. This energy playback, I like how they're saying, this energy playback that we observe is showing us what it wants to show us as an imprinted energy. So we'll never question beyond that. There's a song that the late Tina Turner, she wrote, and it's called Beyond Beyond. Type it in on YouTube, Beyond Beyond, Tina Turner. It'll come up with her chanting songs. She was really a beautiful chanter. When she would chant the Buddha's mantra that kept her in balance in an abusive relationship, so that she built up the strength to get out of it and to claim herself. And when she changed that energy, she never again attracted another man that would treat her like that, that would beat her. Because that energy, she said no to it. And that's why the movie was called What Does Love Have to Do with It? Love had everything to do with it, because that was the one thing she had to develop, is to love herself enough to get out of it and to stand in her own divinity power. And she rose from that. She got out of it. So when you hear her go through and chant, and she does the Beyond Beyond, listen to the words. She's telling you right there how she's talking and saying what we come into this life and being indoctrinated in. And we spend a lifetime. This is the sad part about how we, if we don't wake up in time, we spend all our time living for others instead of really living in the light of ourselves, being authentic, and forgetting about what other people think of us. Because they're not for you, if they're not rooting for you, they're not supporting you, they're not there for you. So, this is why I say every day, we're surrounded by a lot of false codes. But take a listen to that with Tina Turner. Beyond, just type in Tina Turner's chanting song, or um, and it'll come up if you can still find it, because this was years ago. And I heard it on one of the CDs I was playing in my car, and I go, "Oh my God, I forgot I had this." You know, back in the day when I was going to the spa and I was doing yoga and teaching the hot yoga classes, I did a lot of inspirational songs during my yoga teachings. And I would take people on journeys in my yoga training. So, but today I wanted to come back and honor Miss SH question because I really wanted to do that. I'm quite new at this journey and saw a couple of videos of yours to help me understand bit by bit. So thank you. Oh, honey, let me tell you something. You're not new at the journey. You're not new. You're just waking up and aligning. You're coming out of the fog, honey. That's where you're coming from. Coming out of the fog. All of us were in a fog. We were in that heavy fog. We were in amnesia land. When you're in amnesia, you don't know and remember who you are. So when you say you're new to this, no, you're not. You're waking up. You're coming out of amnesia to remember who you are. All of us, every single one of us, are coming out of amnesia because that's what time it is. So honor yourself enough to know that you're stepping into remembering who you are. You've been there all along. You just had to see yourself, embrace yourself, get to know yourself again because you're coming out of amnesia. Another false code light energy to have you believe and think one way, think that's your truth of who you are, and then it's light comes on. So give yourself that love and recognition that you decided and made a conscious decision to come out of amnesia, to not sleep anymore, to remember who you are. There you go. All right, lovelies. I have to go run a couple of errands out in this 111 temperature heat that I don't want to go out into because it's just going to make me feel like I'm having my own personal sweat lodge on every, I don't know, stopping at every signal light. It'll make me feel like round 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're done. My own sweat lodge. So everyone be good to yourselves. I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. And I want to say thank you, Lady SH, for asking that question. And I wanted to come on here and talk about it. All right. All right, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow for our next day. You're so welcome. Be good to yourself. Bye, everyone. Okay.